A lot of people right now are overly bearish on the market. They think that Bitcoin's done. We're going to go to $1,000 and it's over. And, I really don't think so, guys. This was a black swan event. This was this was just Bitcoin's response to the traditional market collapse. And I don't think that we're going to be going lower than 3,800. I'm pretty doubtful of that. I think that this volume signature right here actually indicates that we did find our low and that we are most likely going to be reversing from here. Bitcoin recently had one of the biggest drops it's ever seen in its history. In all of my years in crypto, I have never seen anything like this. Coronavirus has triggered one of the biggest corrections we've seen in the traditional markets in the past 10 years. This past week, Wall Street had to use circuit breakers 2 times during this drop, which has not been seen since 1997. It's not just the crypto market that's suffering right now. The stock market has wiped out almost all of its gains since Trump came into office. There's a lot of things that we need to discuss about the recent events in the crypto market and the global markets as a whole. So let's get right into it. As you guys know, CryptoWatch is my #1 preferred trading and charting platform. If you click that link below and sign up for the basic package, you can get 2 weeks free to test out the platform. A lot of people in the crypto space weren't totally sure exactly how Bitcoin would respond to a major correction in the traditional markets. I even had a conversation with Andreas Antonopoulos, one of the top Bitcoin specialists, not too long ago, just a few days ago, and I was talking to him on Twitter about what he thought Bitcoin would do in times of a global market correction. And even Andreas Antonopoulos, a person that understands Bitcoin more than almost anybody, was unsure of what to think. But recently he put out an interesting tweet. He said, "You wanted institutional investors and mainstream adoption? This is what it looks like. Absent of principles of decentralization, traded as a high volatility asset to add spice to a portfolio. As soon as price gets uncomfortable, they drop it like a hot potato. We don't." And this brings me to my next point, which is a tweet from Mike Novogratz, who runs the Galaxy Fund Management. They are a fund that gives institutions exposure to the crypto market. And Mike Novogratz recently said, "BTC was always a confidence game. All crypto is. And it appears global confidence in just about anything has evaporated." And what Mike Novogratz just said validates what Andreas said. Institutional investors are using Bitcoin really just as a way to spice up their portfolios, and they will drop it like a hot potato when things get uncomfortable. So this is what we're dealing with now, guys. Everybody in crypto wanted institutional investors to step in because they thought the price would moon. But in reality, what it did was it actually tamed the price of Bitcoin. Just like the CME said, we're going to tame the price of Bitcoin, and that is what's happening now. Bitcoin's price is becoming more correlated with the traditional markets as institutional investors are getting a hold of Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin was dumping to $4,000, I said, surprisingly, I'm still holding a lot of my positions. I didn't feel the need to panic sell, and that is because I followed the golden rule. I only invested what I could afford to lose. This still hurts pretty bad though. So guys, keep in mind, if you're going to invest in the crypto market, the golden rule is actually quite important. Only risk what you're willing to lose. A lot of you guys always hear people say this, only invest what you're willing to lose. And for a lot of you out there, it kind of just goes in one ear and out the other. A lot of people sort of ignore this because they just want to invest as much as they can to get as much gains as they can. But you really never know what the market's going to do. And what I find most interesting right now is if you look at the traditional markets, since Trump took office, the traditional markets have they've wiped out almost all of their gains. That low we saw in the Dow Jones, closer to 21,000 was only 6%, less than 6% up from when Trump took office. So the stock market has wiped out almost all of its gains. This has destroyed confidence overall in Bitcoin as well. The last time we saw Bitcoin trading at the $3,000 range was when we saw this drop, right, back below 22,000. And Bitcoin just hit the $3,000 range again, the $3,800 range, after we saw another drop back to the same region, right? And this is without a doubt proving that Bitcoin is correlated to the traditional markets. And now, especially with institutional investors investing in crypto, investing in Bitcoin, we're going to be correlating with the traditional markets now. And I think it's pretty clear that going forward into the future, as Wall Street gets a hold of Bitcoin, Bitcoin is not going to be acting as a hedge against the stock market. It is not uncorrelated either. A lot of you guys follow Pomp on Twitter, and he has been saying that Bitcoin is uncorrelated and it's a great investment to hedge against the stock market. I mean, guys, even the biggest experts of crypto, the biggest, most well-known people in crypto were wrong. They were wrong about this as well. Bitcoin just saw a major drop. This was a black swan event. I don't know many people that were expecting, when Bitcoin was trading at 10,500, I don't know many people that were expecting Bitcoin to drop to 3,800, except for Marc De Mesel, who was one of the original supporters of this channel way back in the day. When Bitcoin was trading at $15,000 back in the beginning of 2018, and I was calling for 2,500, and I was saying that Bitcoin was very likely going to be seeing prices like $3,000, $2,500. Marc De Mesel actually gave me a shout out because he agreed with me there, and Mark actually warned everyone that they should be selling their crypto and their stocks as the coronavirus was spreading. And I did not listen to that. I thought he was being a little bit too doomsday-like. But he was right. Marc De Mesel was right once again. And Marc De Mesel is a crypto OG. He has been in this market since like 2011. So he's definitely somebody to keep track of. I'll post his links below. My channel is known because I was able to call these major downtrends, right? From like 12, 15,000 down to these lows here. Or like from 14,000 down to 7,000, right? This is why people like my channel, because I'm able to call these longer term trends. And recently I've been getting a lot more bullish. I was expecting Bitcoin to be going bullish into the halving. But then, of course, we saw the stock market see one of the quickest drops it's ever seen in its history. And Bitcoin did not respond well to that. So recently, the prediction that I was providing here on this channel was wrong. I actually think that Bitcoin is going to see a reversal from this point. Of course, a lot of this may depend on what the stock market does. Depending on if we see a continued collapse of the stock market or if we just see more increased volatility, right? Who knows what the stock market's going to do? The spread of the virus is unpredictable. So what the stock market does is also kind of unpredictable unless you're an insider. But, the question are the traditional markets going to see a continued collapse straight to the downside? Or are we just going to be seeing, more increased volatility within this range? If the stock market see just like an increased level of volatility like this, it maybe eventually we do continue down for a continued recession, totally possible as well. But if we just see some increased volatility for the time being, then I think it's possible that Bitcoin will recover from here. Now, if the stock market sees an unprecedented collapse and sees, another 20% to the downside, then who knows what Bitcoin's going to do? Recently Bitcoin saw a major drop and has correlated with the traditional markets. Now, the reason why I do think that Bitcoin is actually going to see a bounce back from this region is the volume. What I'm going to show you is a good way to identify trend reversals for the macro trend using volume. Looking at the $20,000 peak here, Bitcoin saw the highest levels of volume it's ever seen at 20,000, right? Now, looking at the next major reversal point was actually the $6,000 level when we bounced and created support there. If you look at the $6,000 level, we also saw a major spike in volume here. If you look at the area where we saw the next major reversal, that was after the drop down to 3,000, 3,100, and we saw a major spike in volume here as well. The next major reversal in the market was around 14,000, another major spike in volume, high levels of volume. Now, the levels of volume that we're seeing right now is comparable to the 20K peak. And throughout Bitcoin history, seeing high levels of volume like this actually indicated a trend reversal. So I think these high levels of volume are actually indicating that the whales have absorbed the market. They have accumulated a ton of Bitcoin at these levels, at these low levels. And it's very likely that this huge spike in volume is most likely going to cause a reversal in the market. That's not to say that Bitcoin's going to just shoot straight up from here. I have no idea exactly, in the short term, it's hard to say what Bitcoin's going to do. We could be just trading sideways within this range below the previous support of the descending triangle. That is our next major resistance to cross, which is the previous support of the descending triangle, which is now acting as some resistance. We need to get above this level. What we need to see right now is a weekly close above the 200-week moving average. I do think that a weekly close above the 200-week moving average is going to be very important, which is this blue line that you see on the screen right here. We are trading at that level right now. A lot of people right now are overly bearish on the market. They think that Bitcoin's done. We're going to go to $1,000 and it's over. And, I really don't think so, guys. This was a black swan event. This was this was just Bitcoin's response to the traditional market collapse. And I don't think that we're going to be going lower than 3,800. I'm pretty doubtful of that. I think that this volume signature right here actually indicates that we did find our low and that we are most likely going to be reversing from here. Guys, Bitcoin is very resilient. We've seen worse than this before with like the Mt. Gox hack. Personally, I'm actually not too worried about this. I'm still holding my positions. I'm actually looking to accumulate more moving forward. I think these are great levels to be accumulating. A lot of people missed out on the $3,800 low. So they are all, they all are calling for Bitcoin to drop back to 3,800. But guys, there was so much volume that came in. There was so much volume that came in at 3,800. I mean, we haven't seen volume like this since $20,000. Since the 20,000 peak, we have not seen volume levels this high. I don't think that Bitcoin's going to come back to retest 3,800 again. That doesn't really, from a volume perspective, that doesn't really make sense. We're seeing a really nice formation right now. Huge buys coming in at 3,800. The whales ate this up, guys. And we are seeing higher lows right now. And I think we're most likely going to see a continued push to the upside. We might be struggling a little bit at the previous descending triangle support, now acting as resistance. The next area of resistance, the next major resistance area is going to be in between 5,800 and 6,430. So what the bulls want to see right now is a recovery, back in this resistance box and eventually break through it. And then things would be looking pretty good from there. A lot of people right now are very angry and they're just so bearish on the market and they just think Bitcoin's just going to keep going lower. I personally don't think so, guys. When people get angry, they create these overly bearish expectations. And I think what people need to do is take a step back, take a deep breath, and reassess the market. This is the time to not be emotional, guys. I know it's difficult, and a lot of people are down on their positions, especially if you're trading leverage. You probably got destroyed. And this is why I actually recommend to not use leverage. I've actually made entire videos dedicated to not using leverage. But, for those of you that are down right now, maybe some of you guys panic sold on the way down. Of course, you're going to be angry and you're going to be so bearish on Bitcoin. You're going to want Bitcoin. You're just going to want Bitcoin to go lower. But guys, that's not the reality of the situation. I think we actually just found our low. And I actually think that Bitcoin is going to be recovering from this point. Maybe we see some sideways action, who knows? But I'm actually bullish on these prices. A lot of people are so bearish right now, and they think Bitcoin's going to go below 3,000. I don't think so. I think that the whales bought this up heavily, and the volume on the weekly chart shows that. We haven't seen volume like this since 20,000. And again, when you see high volume levels like this, that has always been an area of a major reversal point. So keep that in mind. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to sign up with the CryptoWatch platform, guys. CryptoWatch is by far the best platform to use to manage your portfolio across all the top exchanges. Also, you can join the Patreon if you want to see what altcoins I'm still holding on to. And I will see you guys in the next video.